Hey, it's Skullduggery 8 here. I'm on a trail in Yosemite, and I thought I would make a short video about um, changing your perspective or changing your framework. Um, so I want to begin, as always, with a story, which is an experience I had a few weeks ago when I was high off an edible. And I was folding clothes. And I told myself, after I finish folding these clothes, I'm going to be able to play video games and watch YouTube and scroll on Instagram and do all the fun things that I do while high. And so, time was moving slower, and I was just methodically folding each shirt and sweatpants and jeans and socks and putting them away in my dorm, in my dorm cabinet. And as I was doing this, slowly I felt this tremendous pleasure while doing it. And it felt a little like love. It felt like I was caring for myself with each shirt I put in the cabinet. I felt like I was caring and being cared for, like I was doing something for my future self. And I imagined my future self being so, like, I sort of projected myself into the future and imagined the gratitude I would feel, or rather like the sort of how my life would be better because I could just reach in and grab a freshly folded t-shirt. And I know it's a small thing, but I just felt a lot of care, and I felt a lot of purpose in giving that care. That care for my future self, right? The prolonging or the delaying of gratification to do something, to do a chore, for my future self. And what struck me about that really was that in the past, I've folded clothes many, many times sober, and it's always sort of menial, and I distract myself because it's so just sort of meaningless to me with, a YouTube video. I'll just watch a YouTube video while folding clothes. But, while I was locked in on this occasion to folding clothes, I just had such a different perspective, such a different framework for looking at this sort of chore. It was filled with pleasure and purpose with something so simple, and maybe for the first time I related to what these people say about sort of feeling meaning and feeling purpose, just doing simple things, feeling so much joy at doing, at just like meditating or like watering a garden. Like you hear these stories from monks, or like people living in like rural, like people living in really rural communities with the same routine, as opposed to the decadent West or whatever. But I liked those stories, but this was maybe the first time I related to them. And I think I want to try to have a framework like that. That framework of loving myself and feeling gratitude for myself and feeling purpose in just the small things, like with each tiny thing I'm doing for my future self, just feeling that purpose and pleasure and gratitude. I mean, that's ideal, right? Like if I could go through life feeling that way, if I can make my work feel like that, if I can make exercise, if I can make, chores. I mean, mainly it's work, I think, because I really hate doing work. But if I can make work feel like that would be amazing, right? Like, that'd be literally life-changing. And of course it might not be possible, but I would like to. But I have one more thing to say about this, which is that a lot of people will say something like, oh, dude, just change your perspective. Just change, just move your head around and change your framework. Change the way you're looking at things. And suddenly the world will, be better. The world will open up, full of possibilities. You'll be so much happier, and you'll change your life, basically, right? And I don't want to give that impression off, because that statement is a response to people who are like, it's a response to the idea that my life is, crystallized already, that it's glacial. Not glacial, as in, like, it's stuck in one place. It's rock hard. It's unchangeable. But, in response to that, people will say, no, right? Like, there's so many different subjectivities you can have. There's so many different frameworks you can have. And some frameworks will genuinely change how you feel, how you act, how you relate to the world. But I think that response, right, it goes a bit too far, because it can feel like what they're saying is, no, you don't have to do any actual hard work to change your life. You can just change your perspective just like that, right? Like, I feel like that's how we envision shifting your perspective. Just, like snapping your fingers, having a different way of looking at the world suddenly, by just believing it. Because people, I don't know, I feel like, at least for me, and I think others as well, we sort of believe that we can control how we view the world more than we actually can. So when people tell me, just change your perspective, just do this, right? It's like as if I have a lot of agency, as if it's easy. But it's not. Like, changing your perspective, it takes so much effort, I feel. Surely, I mean, this is my belief. This is why, main way people change their perspectives over years of experiences, over years and years. You get older. And if someone tells you, change your perspective, and you want to accelerate that, right? It's not about just thinking really hard and being like, okay, now I have a different perspective. Now I enjoy chores. And now every time I fold a shirt, I'm so, I like fucking cum everywhere. Like, that's bullshit, right? Like, it's more than that, surely. Here's what I would guess, that real perspective change involves a lot of, ego abandonment, a lot of introspection, a lot of focused introspection, really, not even really just like, a lot of like sort of very directed and repeated introspection. And it probably involves behavior change. Some sort of behavior change. Because your behavior, right, like the things that you do affects how you relate to the world. I mean, this is obvious. So, yeah, I guess I want to have a perspective like these, supposedly sort of these like really enlightened, really joyful and these people who seem like they're high on life, right? These people who seem to appreciate really simple things, who seem to take joy in doing difficult things. But it's not gonna happen with, just a change in perspective or a change in your framework, because that's impossible. It's going to involve introspection. It's going to involve behavior change. It's going to involve like repetition, like consistency, sort of repeating truths and denying falsehoods to yourself over and over again. Working really hard over and over again to convince yourself in your behavior and in your internal monologue and unconsciously with your environment, trying really, really hard to convince yourself of a different perspective and then a change in perspective. Yeah, I don't know if that was useful in any way to you. I hope you got something out of it. I think I might have. I don't know. I hope you at least enjoyed the trees and everything. All right. I'll see you guys later.